Hello, listener. Welcome back to Graveyard Gabs. Really quick before we get started, if you could just rate the show and maybe subscribe, give me a follow, anything that lets the algorithm know that other people should see this, please do that. It would mean a lot. I'm your host, Stevie, and today we're joined by local legend, Milwaukee Music Man, SAMMIE K. Anderson, aka Wolfbiter. SAMMIE is an absolute gem, and you'll hear it in this interview. We have insightful conversation and an overall blast of a time. It is a bit on the shorter side, but that's because it was right before he tore the roof off the Miramar at Sad Boy Saturday. Enjoy!
Some credit.
All right. Hi there, I'm Stevie. Welcome to Graveyard Gabs. Please tell the people who you are.
My name is SAMMIE K. Anderson.
SAMMIE, what do you do?
All the time? I am a DJ by trade mostly. I am the DJ for Sad Boy Saturday, and I also do a little EDMing from time to time under the name Wolfbiter.
Wolfbiter is, I remember seeing that for the first time, and I thought to myself, that name is really hard. I thought at first it was like a hardcore band.
Mm-hmm.
But then I heard some of your stuff. I was like, well, this is hardcore in a different aspect,
right.
You know?
That's actually very apt. I used to be in metal band called Sleep Therapist Sleep and came from that culture. But when somebody showed me the harder side of dance music, there was a lot of wolf biting to be done.
So how far back would you say that your musical endeavors started?
All right. At the risk of running out the clock here, it's been, I think, 22 years since I played my first show in my first band. And since then, it's been a couple different bands and projects and stuff. But yeah, 2 decades.
That's hardcore.
Of putting in the work.
So where does the name Wolfbiter come from?
Wolfbiter actually, I don't know if you can see it, but it's a word that people that suffer from dermatophagia used to be called wolf biters, and that's when you nervous tick eat at your hands.
Whoa.
And I read that and I was like, that's not only something I do, but something that sounds really cool. So I looked at my friend that I was with when I was reading it. I was like, would the DJ name Wolfbiter be dope? And then I was like, yeah, I'm taking it back. It's not just for how nervous I am anymore.
You know, that kind of makes sense, seeing the nature of you being a nervous person
Yes.
From time to time. So the origins of that name, because I'd never heard of that before.
Yeah.
So that's very cool.
My dad actually, after I chose it, apparently to his generation, wolf bite means when you don't wipe well enough and you have an itchy bungus. And when I was like, well, I already picked the name, so hopefully nobody says that to me, and nobody has since, but it's still a good story.
That is absolutely hilarious. Bungus is crazy, actually. Just
Sorry.
Pull that out.
That's what it is.
What is currently, what is inspiring you to create things?
Ooh, that's tough. That feels a little bit more therapy-y. Like I said, it's been 2 decades of doing stuff, and sometimes it's easier than others, and here at 36, it's definitely a lot more looking back than looking forward. But I stay creative through making sure that all my DJ sets are really fun, and I'll poke around at making music. But really, the rat race gets a lot of my time recently. You know what I mean? It's hard to make enough money to be a really creative person. But when it finds me, And what makes me that way, I would say that I'm a big fantasy guy. I think just excited by imagination. I play Dungeons and Dragons twice a week, every week. So
okay,
that's my thing.
Are you a DM or?
I am not the DM. I'm a player. I have a couple that runs a game. The husband on Tuesdays and the wife on Thursdays, and they're a boon. We've been playing together for 2 years, and it's just been so much fun. And I'm sure that time definitely could be spent making music, but I would rather play pretend.
I mean, I feel like that's ultimately what matters. At the end of the day, at the core, you're taking care of you. And if you're having fun doing these things, eventually it will pay itself back into your creative outflow.
That's true.
So when you talk about fantasy and D&D, what are some of your, favorite, fantasy films?
I think the GOAT is always going to be Lord of the Rings. I think they made like the first actual epic, like for the screens in that one, and it makes you like want to learn more about how Tolkien did all that. So Lord of the Rings is definitely the top of the echelon. I think recently, over the past 2 years, I've been fighting my way through One Piece, which has been the most inspirational, like, eating up of a anime ever. Like, I've liked shows before, but One Piece fundamentally changes who you are, I think. That one's really good. I don't know. So movie, anime, what else do I like? Shows. I like cartoons. I like cartoons that are really good and really funny. I'm a big fan of Rick and Morty before the fallout. And
Yeah, that
really
was awful.
The Smiling Friends, I feel like, is a really good departure. But like Tim and Eric, awesome show. I think is. I know this is we've fallen straight from fantasy into post comedy.
This is what Graveyard Gabs is about. Gabbing, so
Gabbing, but Tim and Eric, awesome show. I think at my core is like what I find the most funny about stuff. It's just people not taking anything seriously at all and going for it.
I was never a big watcher of the show, but it was obviously something that would come on from time to time on Adult Swim. But I definitely feel a lot of like what's on now can be traced back to that in some form.
Mm-hmm. Especially through the Tim Robinson. I feel like I could like teach a college course on like the neurodivergent like threads that he weaves into his comedy. And I just like, I've never felt so seen as when I'm watching a Tim Robinson sketch. And then out of nowhere, Tim Heidecker's in the show, and you're like, yep, there's the through line.
So let's take a step back and talk about like the formation, the beginnings of Sad Boy Saturday.
Okay.
What was that like to get kind of the ball rolling?
So I think for like a year before we started doing it in 2017, the like emo nights of the world had started like staking their claims in different places and becoming actual like things to do that people, it wasn't like let's go one time. It was like people really want a place where they can listen to this music that as adults they didn't get to listen to like as hard as when they were kids, you know, like in a party sense. So we wanted to make one that was Milwaukee's, that like came from a scene kid, because that's like all I had grown up in the Milwaukee music scene, and emo music literally helped me become the man that I am today, whatever that means. But my partner Brian and I, we started in a small bar in Bayview, and we just were like telling our friends that had gone to shows that we knew through emo stuff that if you want to come and listen to like a playlist of songs you haven't heard in, 10 years, come on down and we'll do it. And every month it just kept popping off harder and harder. People that we didn't know started coming, and like the word of mouth went crazy. And instead of having the emo nights of the world coming in and, taking a piece of the Milwaukee pie, we really made our farm to table presence known. And for 100 parties now have been, the very last word in Milwaukee emo party music.
That was a beautiful like history. You like painted the picture. I saw
Good. I felt like I was talking for 3 years.
No, that was fantastic. And I mean, for the people watching or listening, like SAMMIE is amazing at what he does on the stage. He commands presence. Like you see him and you're doing whatever he's telling you to do. And actually had SAMMIE at me and B's wedding because we knew what we wanted.
It was an honor.
It was amazing. So thank you again for that. You're really
welcome.
And again, talking about the roots of where you started in, a tiny bar, and the most recently, like you've done Summerfest a couple times now, which is
3 times.
Insane.
Really crazy. I feel like that's the metric for if a Milwaukee local has made their project, they get to go to the big gig. And apparently last year they forgot to invite us. So this year we were very adamant to remind them, and we got to do our thing. It didn't get to do it for as long as we wanted. There was some hiccups, but it was a good party.
I guess that's the nature of the beast, right?
Yeah, dude, that place is getting crazy.
So let's go back to the first Summerfest you did. What's going through your mind? What are you feeling?
That was the fourth time I had taken a project to Summerfest. So I was been there before as I could be, but I never want to act so cool as to not be able to like accept the novelty that is doing these things. Like this is stuff that a lot of people won't ever get to do. So you have to be in the moment and be grateful for every little second of it. And like, as much as I am nervous, I'm excited. And I'm like, before I think you rode in with us. You like literally saw my anxiety in the car, like making me yell and scream and act a fool. But like, that's all just the precursor to what you said is like, the more excited I am, the more anxious I am and vice versa.
That makes a lot of sense. And that ties back to Wolfbiter and the origin of that. So
I'll be this room that we're in before Wolfbiter sets. I'll be sitting here pacing back and forth, just worried, sick. And then by the time I get up there, I'm a warlord. And it's like, I don't know how that alchemically happens, but by the time we're up there, something's changed fundamentally. And then it's go time.
So did you and Brian know each other previous to the inception?
Yeah, me and Brian have known each other for a very long time. He's been playing in bands as long as I've been playing in bands, and our bands played shows together. He used to take pictures of bands that I was in. He was managing bands, so we've just been in and out of each other's lives a bunch. And when he was like, yo, we should do this, we should like get a piece of this emo night pie, he hit me up and he's like, do you think you could DJ an emo night? I was like,
hello.
I've been waiting for this. You know how long I've been waiting for this?
So, upbringing and obviously being a scene kid, emo kid.
Yeah.
Just 5 off the top of your head, bands that mean something to you. Any of them.
Top Dog, always going to be Fall Out Boy. They brought me to this point. They were the ones that showed me that the genre isn't just, like the punk side of things, that pop punk means that pop has a place in the music. And like as they grew and did their own thing, it was a sight to behold. I knew from the beginning that was going to be my favorite band, but it's always been like Fall Out Boy. Oh man, that's my go-to because the rest is so nebulous and perfect. Like just as a genre, it's so good. If I had to pick,
again, no numbers. I'm just saying any who come to your mind.
The Early November, they pop up. The Starting Line was such a good band. I really, really, really liked, Panic at the Disco for a lot of the same reasons as Fall Out Boy, just absolutely locked in and made it like pop superstardom. And from a technicality and live standpoint, I think Story of the Year might be one of the bands that like just pops off live harder than anybody. So that's my 5. It's not top nothing, but
no,
those
just
are
the
5
ones that come to your head that like you have memories with. That's a pretty solid list, and I know you spin those records every single time you get the opportunity to.
That's right.
Time to break out those VHS tapes, your iPod, and a crisp cold sobe from the fridge. Brace yourselves for Y2 Slay, a 2000s-inspired pop-up market full of nostalgia, comfort, and whatever you downloaded from LimeWire. We won't judge. Collab show with Witchbriar Cottage at the very famous X-Ray Arcade on August 22nd from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. And when you're done shopping at Graveyard Gallery, set sail and cry to emo bangers at Sad Boat Saturday. If you can't make the boat party, don't fret. The party will continue at the Miramar. That's Sad Boat Saturday, followed by Sad Boy Saturday, August 22nd. Now, back to the pod. So let's talk about Wolfbiter and your, EDM stuff. What is kind of the difference between doing a Sad Boy and DJing for one of your EDM events?
I think Sad Boy is generally a nostalgia bomb. It's not so much about the technical parts of DJing. It's more about, here's this song we love, sung in a group that's all vibing the same way, and we can like get a thing going. And that get a thing going is the same thing we're after in EDM when we're getting the dance floor right. It's just a little bit more technical. The set isn't 5 hours, it's an hour. So it's just, instead of playing a song that I know that you like, I'm playing music that I think will move us through this hour in a way that is not only interesting, but like captivating. And hopefully, you can stop being a person for a second and just be a dancer and be a person in the dance and let go of all the things that make being a person really difficult. And I think that's why I love playing music for people, is because we can get into that wave. And once we're there, it's undefeated.
Who are some, producers or DJs that you really dig, that if someone who is new to this and kind of wants to see what you're about, like who's someone you would recommend to them check out?
The biggest bridge that exists for me, and my number one GOAT of all time, is Skrillex, because he took it from scene kid that saw the vision to producer to Grammy award-winning producer, and now here he is, and 3 separate times he's changed the course of dubstep music as it exists in the world. So it's just, no matter when you listen to him from the, decade and a half of his existence, like there's something for everybody there. Skrillex is always a good place to start. I think Flume is one of the most interesting and beautiful musicians that there is. I think Skrillex, Flume, and RL Grime are my 3. If you want to go listen to music I like that would make you feel Wolfbiter-y, those are them. But also, I have a SoundCloud, and I got tunes on there, so you can check those out.
There you go. What's the SoundCloud link?
We'll link it below.
There we go. Beautiful. Okay. What are some, general tips that you'd give? Usually I ask a creative, but this is kind of a different medium. So somebody that is creating music, a new producer, or a DJ that just wants to spin records, what are some tips you'd give to somebody that's starting out?
This isn't just for show. It's not for cool guys to look cool and do cool things. This is an important part of helping people to enjoy their lives more. So I think don't ever approach it like it's about you. You're not the guy on stage that everyone's looking at. You're the guy pressing play and everyone's listening to the music you're playing. So don't approach it from, I can't wait to be the coolest guy in the room. Approach it with great power comes great responsibility. I think from a making dance music aspect, we are in a tumultuous time as far as artificial intelligence is concerned. So just make sure you're doing the work. Find the time to put your own spin on things, because soon humanity will be the number one aspect of all music. Will want to know that it was made by a people.
Absolutely.
And so I think that's number one for making music right now, is there's a lot of really cool shortcuts that are just baked into making music, but there's some that you have to go out of your way to use that are defeating the purpose entirely. So I think make sure that you do things the human way while we still can.
That is so beautiful, eloquently said, because as people who are listening and watching know that this is a very anti-AI, generative AI space. So I appreciate the words you have to say about that.
Yeah.
Well, I have one more question for you.
What do you got?
Who are 3 people that inspire you to get up and do what you do every day?
I have been married to the love of my life now for 9 years. Her name is Samantha Lillian Anderson, and she is the single greatest thing that ever happened to me. She keeps me going every day, not even to just do one thing or another, but to even open my eyes in the morning takes a lot, and she's always right there. I'm going to do my parents as one so that we don't leave the third guy out, but I've been absolutely blessed to have a family that is on board, that cares, that is supportive, because, being a creative and living the starving artist lifestyle is not for the weak, the faint of heart, but having a family that's like, yo, we know that's not good, but we see that it's for you and we want to help is invaluable. So my wife, my parents, and my best friend, Nick Butenhoff. He was the one that initially got me into the heavier sides of EDM, where I found a lot of music and started taking me to those shows and introduced me to that realm. And he's just been my best friend for years and years and years. And we've gone through just about everything two people can go through together. And he was the one that showed me this door and opened up what has been the last 10 years of my life to me. And I'm forever grateful for him for that and for the friendship. So my wife, my best friend, and my parents.
That is so beautiful. SAMMIE, Wolfbiter, thank you for your time. I know you're really busy getting set up for Sad Boy. That's happening tonight. And obviously, by the time you see this, it's not happening. But get yourself to a Sad Boy Saturday ASAP. So thank you for gabbing with me. I appreciate it.
It was my pleasure.
All righty.
Did I do okay?
You did great.
Let's go.
All right. Bye. That's today's episode. Please follow, subscribe, and all that jazz so you can keep up to date on this pod. You can follow SAMMIE and Sad Boy Saturday on Instagram. The handles are @Wolfbiter_music and @SadBoySaturday. This episode was produced by me, Stevie Salinas. Theme music is by Seth Thompson. Tune in next month for another Gab sesh.